Alright guys, so in this video I played Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2023. This is the penultimate video in the series where I play every single Assassin's Creed game in order for the first time, and then give my overall thoughts and a review on the game when I finished it. So Valhalla is next up, and then after that the series is done and finished. Which, to be honest, it has gone fairly quick. Obviously I did take a bit of a break halfway through and then came back and did the other half, and now we're on to Odyssey. So Origins was the last video, and of course that was the first RPG sort of open world style, and everyone since then has followed that same route. If you're excited, then hit that like button down below, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're new and if you would like to. At the moment I am doing the Assassin's Creed videos, but we'll see what will happen after, and comment down below if you would like to see me complete another franchise or series. If you want to watch any other videos in the series, then the playlist is in the description down below, and also at the end of this video as well. So let's jump into Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2023. Now the game is set in ancient Greece during the Peloponnesian War between Athens and Sparta. The game features a historically accurate depiction of Greece, showcasing its iconic landscapes, of course like the giant statue of Zeus landmark which you see at the start, along with the game's incredible architecture. The world is massive as well, and players can explore various regions and biomes, each with its own sort of unique characteristic, with a variety of different biomes. Like I said, the beaches are some of my favourite. The lighting you see from like the sunset on the water is quite something. I'd say it's the best looking Assassin's Creed game they've done. Like in terms of just visual and setting, it's just amazing. And the portrayal of the time period is really impressive as well, with the game incorporating real world events and figures along with the portrayal of mythology as well. And I know that some of those aspects have been sort of criticised before when the game first came out for their sort of historical accuracy, and I can kind of see it, but there is, you know, mythical creatures and monsters, and I thought it was pretty cool though, and gives a different side and something to explore, even though it may not be fully accurate. The game's setting and time period provide a fantastic backdrop for you to explore, and Greece is just amazing to see in real life, and to have that in a game and explore it, it's really immersive. And the story follows either Cassandra or Alexios, basically two siblings who are descendants of Leonidas, the king of Sparta. The game's narrative revolves around the siblings kind of uncovering their family's past, which is sort of intertwined with the ongoing war between Athens and Sparta. And it was really fun to sort of go through and play. Cassandra and Alexios are the two main protagonists of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the players can actually choose which sibling to play as, which of course they didn't do before, with both having their unique personalities and backstories. I'd say Cassandra is definitely the more popular choice, and she's a charismatic character whose sort of emotional depth and character development make her one of the best characters in the series, I'd say. Alexios, on the other hand, I had to sort of research this because I didn't obviously play as him. I chose Cassandra myself, and him on the other hand is more of a sort of reserved character whose personality is less like well defined than Cassandra's, I'd say. Of course I haven't fully played it, so I can't really tell. I've just kind of seen online and like other people's views. However, both characters are sort of well voiced and well animated. There's a few places where the dialogue seems a bit weird, and the voice acting, sometimes it doesn't always fit, and it could be a bit cringy at sometimes. Like compared to other games, even Origins, I don't know, it's just something about the voice acting in this one, it just kind of makes me laugh, and it just kind of just adds to the game's immersion really. One of the biggest improvements in Odyssey is the inclusion of dialogue choices, which give players the ability to shape the story by themselves and their character's personality, and this is a sort of departure from the previous games in the series, which had a more linear narrative. The dialogue choices are not just superficial as well, as they can lead to different outcomes in the story and affect the player's relationships with sort of other characters and NPCs. However, while the dialogue choices offer more sort of interaction, which was cool, and I usually like that in games, like Detroit Become Human was really cool, how it's like there's so many different endings and stuff, but with this one it just kind of adds to the story and has like different quests to do, so the story itself can feel like too much is going on at some points and switching focus a lot, and like some quest lines can make the pacing feel sort of uneven at times, and some points it felt difficult to stay invested in the story due to its length and lack of focus, and some story arcs that felt disconnected from the game's main narrative, and they kind of make them feel like an unnecessary filler. A lot of the time I had to go back and do sort of small side quests that didn't have a lot going on, or missions from just like NPCs, just to then reach the recommended level for the next main quest, where I just wanted to get on with the story. I feel like this game is a lot more on like exploration, and there's so much to do, maybe even too much, which I know was similar in Origins when you had to sort of get the recommended level, but it seemed like a lot easier, and there would always be like a lot more options and be another quest to do anyway. There always would be one, where in Odyssey Odyssey I had to like go back to earlier locations and find a mission that needed doing, which wasn't really great. Now the game has received several post-launch updates and DLC, which added new content and features to the game. The most significant addition was the Atlantis DLC, which I have seen gameplay of, I haven't played it myself, which added a new storyline and a new region to the game. The DLC also did add new abilities, weapons and armor, and it provides players with even more options for character customization. But I can't really give a full view on it because I haven't played it myself. I've just kind of seen what it's about really. And the updates of the game has allowed players to change their appearance of gear, and a new Game Plus mode that allows players to replay the game with their character's existing progress. Now, Assassin's Creed Odyssey's RPG mechanics have also been sort of criticised for making the game feel like less of an Assassin's Creed game and more like a generic RPG, and that's kind of all the same with Valhalla, Origins and Odyssey. I said the same in my last video. I didn't really think it. I love how you can have like a whole open world to explore and stuff, and like it was just a whole different gameplay style. Then some players have found the game's leveling system to be sort of frustrating, as it can sometimes feel like a grind to level up and progress through the game's main story mission. There was also some criticism of the implementation of microtransactions, which of course I didn't really delve into, but I did see it, and like you can pay for like boosts of XP and stuff, and like various different items you can purchase, which can make the game feel like a pay-to-win experience. And while the microtransactions are not necessary to progress through the game, they can be a turn-off for some players who prefer a more traditional progression system. And then there also is the portrayal of ancient Greece, which there's a lot of different reasons. I mean, for me it was fine, but while the game's recreation of the landscape and architecture are really impressive, some have criticised its historical accuracy, like I said earlier, and there's also the representation of certain gender and ethnical groups. And like I said, the mythological elements can sort of feel disconnected for some people from the historical setting and tone of the game, especially compared to the really old games. In terms of additions, Assassin's Creed Odyssey introduced a brand new naval combat system, which allows players to engage in battles on the sea. This system is actually expanded on from Origins, and it includes the ability to recruit and upgrade crew members for your ship. There's also a mercenary system where the player can sort of go through levels of mercenaries and fight against other mercenaries for different items and rewards. And that was pretty cool that they did actually add a lot to it. It was a lot different from like Black Flag or even 3. Of course, we've seen boats and ships in the game before, but this was brand new. This was a lot of upgrades were made to it, even just from Origins to Odyssey. However, while these additions add more variety to the gameplay, they can also feel like distraction from the main story for some people, and they may find themselves spending a lot more time engaging in naval battles and mercenary missions than actually progressing the main story. And if that's something that you like and you don't really want to rush through the story, and that was kind of for me, but it wasn't that I wanted to rush through it. It was just I like getting on with the story, you know. And maybe if you are more of a explorer in the game and you want to engage in a lot of combat, then it is pretty fun to do naval battles. But I do also like the story is like one of the main parts of the game, and I really wanted to sort of see it clearly and work out what was going on. But actually in the story there isn't like a load of naval battles, and it was just sort of like dotted in there around like every few missions, and I did like it. Now in terms of combat and gameplay, Odyssey improves compared to Origins with a more refined and varied combat system, and I really did enjoy it. And of course the skill tree system makes the experience a lot more customizable, and because they introduced special attacks where you assign loads of different abilities to your moves and weapons that then have a cooldown to them, and there's so many to choose from. It definitely does add more depth and strategy to battles, and it's just, yeah, I love how customizable it is. Players can also choose to specialize in certain combat styles such as range combat, stealth, through the game's skill tree system, and it was definitely one of the best customizable combats we've ever had. Like, it was so much variety in it. It was really good. The parkour system as well, which has also been a staple of the series, of course, it's also improved on in Odyssey. The game features a lot more smoother and more responsive traversal system, allowing a lot more fluid movement for the game's open world, though I do feel like there could be more variety in the parkour mechanics, such as just adding new moves or ways to sort of traverse the environment, especially at times in like sort of crowded areas. Improving the like variety of the parkour system could enhance the player's experience and make it a lot more enjoyable. But it was overall pretty good. It's just maybe there could have been a few more moves added in there. And overall, I'd say Odyssey is a strong entry in the series that offers a vast and immersive open world and that has engaging protagonists. Definitely a more refined combat and a lot more interactive and varied combat system, which there's so many different moves to unlock and choose from and add and switch out and stuff that it's really customizable. And the gameplay system is great as well. Then while the story may feel bloated at times, I guess that's probably the best word for it, and some of the additional systems may sort of distract from the main narrative, especially like the dialogue options where it just seems to kind of stray away and there's so many different story arcs to keep on top of. The game's strengths do make it a lot worth playing in 2023. It's definitely not the worst in the series, and overall I did enjoy it, especially the setting. That was just amazing, the look of the game, and overall it is an amazing game. But it just may not be the best for everyone, especially in the story and the gameplay. Ultimately, this is probably the game that comes down to personal preference the most, and whether the game's strengths outweigh the weaknesses for each individual player, and it's definitely the most compared to any other game in the franchise. That's how I feel, and I'd say it's worth it. That was me playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey in 2023. If you enjoyed it, you can hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more, you can check out the playlist in the description down below, and also at the end of this video as well. And if you're new and if you would like to, you can subscribe to the channel. And that is the penultimate video in the series with Valhalla left. That is the final one. Kind of sad that it's come to an end, but I've really enjoyed doing it. And I'm just trying to think of what there is next, but there will be something. And I hope you enjoyed it, and bye bye.